Happy Valentine's today. It's Valentine's Day, and yes, I am in red. Can you see that? Now, this is the reddest red I could get, and yeah, this is a custom-made bomber jacket. Maybe you can come closer, show them. This is a custom-made bomber jacket, which is in red and white. Actually, we have put some fleece inside so that it's functional. By functional, I mean it's supposed to make you warm, not just look good on you. So it serves the purpose, and this is the reddest red I could get. So I am in the Valentine mood. But today I want us to ask ourselves a very good question. Where did this thing come from? What is Valentine's Day? What are people celebrating? And where does it have its root or its origin from? Now, there are people that are not celebrating and they have their reasons, and there are people that are celebrating and I believe they also have their reasons. But I want us to investigate and interrogate the origin of Valentine's Day, and then from that, we can answer whether we need to celebrate it or not to celebrate it. Now, Valentine's Day has its origin in both Christian and pagan traditions. Now, what do I mean? In the 3rd century, there was an emperor. His name was Claudius II. Claudius II. I had to write it so that I don't forget the name. Claudius II was the emperor. Now, this emperor was a very ambitious man. So what he did is that he began a campaign of war and battles all over Europe where he wanted to take territory and all of that. And he needed a very vast army for him to accomplish what he wanted to do. So what he did is that he forbade marriage from the young soldiers. He forbade them from marrying so that they can enlist in the army, and not just enlist in the army, but also be focused on the battles that were happening. So he forbade these people from marrying. Actually, it was almost forbidding love. Kidogo afunge taps za love bana. Kidogo rege simame in the place of love. So the dude was very ambitious and he forbade everybody from marrying. And therefore, he had a very disgruntled army. These young people, they were love sick. They wanted to go home to their loved ones, the people that they left behind. And he was trying to keep them in the battlefield for long. And now comes in Valentine. Now, Valentine was a Roman priest, a Roman Catholic priest. And he didn't agree with the decree that was passed by the emperor. So what he began to do is that he began to wed these young soldiers in secret. So you'd come with your loved one, and the priest Valentine would come and wed you, and then you'd be legally married to your lover. And that went on for some time until the emperor Claudius II found out what the priest Father Valentine was doing. So he caught him, arrested him, and put him in prison. Then they tried him and they condemned him to death by beheading. Now, before he was beheaded, he was put in prison. And while he was in prison, the soldiers that he had helped wed, the one that he had wedded, they began to send him letters in prison. And not just letters, they also sent him flowers as he was in prison. And legend says that while he was in prison, he fell in love with the daughter of his jailer. Now, the daughter, they say, was a blind lady. And now there was love. And after that, they connected, and after they connected, after they connected, the lady somehow got healed miraculously, and that love grew and became so potent. And they say by the time he was dying, he wrote the lady a letter and he signed it off by this statement: "From your Valentine." So that's where that your Valentine came from. That's where the tradition began. But now the man was beheaded in 269 AD on 14th February. 269 AD, 14th February. That is when they beheaded him. Now, from that time, the soldiers began to remember him. They started to adore him because of what happened. Now, fast forward 2 centuries later, in the year, let me get that right, in the year 496 AD, another pope arose. His name was, let me get that name correctly, his name was Pope Gelasius. He was a pope, Pope Gelasius. Now, what he did, he discovered there was a Roman pagan ceremony that was happening around February 13th to 15th. Now, remember, Saint Valentine was killed on February 14th, 269 AD. Now, there was a Roman pagan ceremony that was happening around that time, actually on February 13 to February 15. The pagan ceremony was called Lupercalia. I hope I'm sounding it right. It was called Lupercalia. Now, Lupercalia was a fertility festival that included matchmaking and purification. And this festival was offered to a deity they called, if I'm not wrong, yes, the deity was called Aphrodite. They went there and they worshipped this deity, and they did a lot of matchmaking. There was blood being poured out. People were having all kind of orgies and indulgences, sexual things, and people used just go there and connect. And they believed that after they offered that sacrifice to that god, that the next year they would all be fertile and fruitful and all of that. So what is that name? What Pope? Let me get that name right. I don't, these names are, yes, Gelasius. What Pope Gelasius I did is that during that festival, he introduced what we call Valentine's Day, a festival to honor Saint Valentine and celebrate love. So it was like the way many Roman or many Christian festivals that we celebrate, including Easter, including Christmas, all these ceremonies, they have a pagan tradition. So even Valentine's also has a pagan tradition. So what they did is that the Pope was he just replaced that ceremony, that they are not worshipping Lupercalia again. They are not worshipping the Aphrodite, but they made it a Christian event to celebrate Saint Valentine. And people came together. They offered each other flowers. They offered each other gifts. They celebrated love and all of that. And that's where we got the Saint Valentine's Day. Now, two things mark this day. We must understand that it represents a few things. Number one, it represents love, affection, appreciation. So that's why you see a lot of people, that was the tradition around the day, that people came to celebrate love, they came to celebrate appreciation, they came to celebrate affection, and people would offer each other gifts. They would offer their loved one gifts, and they would celebrate the concept of love. So that one was also marked with roses. Why roses? Now, Lupercalia, the god Aphrodite, the way they worshipped him is that they brought roses. Roses were the symbol of their worship to Lupercalia, the Aphrodite, in Lupercalia, the ceremony. So that tradition of offering roses was adopted when it was turned to become Christianese, and people began to give roses as part of their showing affection and love and all of that. Also, the color red is a color that represented emotions, passions. So you found, I love Cupid. Cupid is one of the gods that represents love, is marked with the red color. So they adopted the red color, and now people began to put on red. They began to have themes of red and offer roses and all of that. And that's where the tradition came from. So my question is, are you celebrating Valentine's? Now, as for me and Patrick, I am celebrating Valentine's. As you can see, I'm in red, and I believe mpoa huyo namjua atakuwa amevaa red, and when time is right, I will carry some roses, and I will go and offer roses, and then take someone to dinner, show my appreciation, show my love, and all of that, and express it. It's a day to celebrate love. So forget the Lupercalia, forget those deities, forget the paganism, and just adopt the concept of appreciating someone, the concept that you're loved and you're loving someone, and celebrate that. From the tailor's desk, all I can tell you is that put on some outfit that will communicate love or affection. Just feel right. Whatever you do, whatever you put on, it's okay. If you can put on some red, it serves the purpose. Red is an emotional color. Even psychologically, you will find that it represents warmth and energy and all of that. Those that study psychology, you will understand what I'm saying. But go out there, celebrate your wife, celebrate your girlfriend. If you need an outfit, you need something like this, again, like I said, holla at me. This was Taylor's Desk, and we were speaking about Valentine's Day. See you on the next one.